Hello, everyone, and welcome to Small Talk. This is the Smallville podcast here on the channel. I'm one third of your co-host. My name is Ryan Cam, and thank you all so much for tuning in. This week, kind of breaking the pattern, we got two okay episodes and a really good one, but we'll get into that and more. But first, gotta introduce my co-host. First up from 3D Movie Cinema, it's Jacob Collins, who is joining the Four Horsemen Wrestling faction.
Huh. No, you know what? Today this has been a good week. Okay, we got the Fantastic Four trailer, the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer, and I will say, as we said off screen, we got the best trailer ever made, the mother of all trailers. That's going to be in the top five trailers of all time. And I am, of course, referring to Move Out of the Way, Avengers Endgame, and Force Awakens, and No Way Home, and Superman. We're going to have the record breaking trailer of the Smurfs movie trailer.
Well, we all know which one Matt Wyatt is going to, Smurfs, and
Oh,
dressing up
yes.
as a Smurf as well. He's going to be
Gargamel.
Wyatt Smurf, you see.
Fuck. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Anyway, yeah, it was great to come back on the small talk. I mean, Disciples was not that bad as the Idol episode. The Idol, we can all be in the sabbatical as the weakest of the
Idol was
three.
its worst. Idol was
It
absolutely
was
the
probably the
worst.
worst one. Pandora, and it's not fucking Pandora like from music fucking web or fucking Pandora from Avatar.
It's
No.
like Pandora's box is the youth fitness
Or
selection.
Pandora's box.
We've got a lot to cover, so let's get into it. But first of all, if you like what you've seen here, like, subscribe, do the thing. We do this every week, so stay tuned for all the new updates. But first up, let us get into Season 9, Episode 8, called Idol. And no, Billy has nothing to do with it.
There's no way the drug busts work the blur.
Lois, I wasn't behind the saves.
The Blur has an imposter. I discovered 5 messy saves that were obviously not done by you.
Powers activated.
Smallville, an all-new episode Friday at 8/7 Central.
Superhero twins Zan and Jaina, aka the Wonder Twins, show up in Metropolis to help the Blur fight crime with their combined shape-changing abilities. But the clumsy and naive teenagers end up botching several rescues, leaving Clark in hot water with the district attorney's office. Clark decides to come forward as the Blur to clear his name despite Chloe's protests. Meanwhile, Lois begins seeing a therapist to deal with her growing romantic feelings for Clark and gets dangerously close to discovering his secret identity. So I'm going to pitch it to Collins first because I want him to accurately describe the first few minutes of this episode because it must be heard to be believed. So Collins, go ahead.
So basically, let me tell you something, okay? All right. So basically, you have these cops, okay, and these superheroes. It's like, no, what happened? No, basically the episode starts out where they get a package, a giant crate, and Lois opens it like she's the dad in a Christmas story. Opens it up instead of a leg lamp. There is literally about some cocaine with a bunch of cops in there, and my first thought is, wouldn't the cops suffocate? Like literally, like we're undercover cops just covered in coke, and I'm just thinking. First off, there's no holes in that. I saw that. I told
Bro,
Ryan,
they would be fucking high on cocaine. They're
yeah,
all over the
it's,
cocaine. They're exposed to it. It looked like
you guys,
Scarface sneezed all over them.
Lois gets a box delivered full of cocaine and cops. I'm just saying that is literally the first. She gets like a box full of cocaine and cops in it. Like
At
what?
least, at least give these poor people like a straw to breathe out of. Like have them take turns, be like breathe through the hole. Like my turn,
You had them duct
my
taped to their
turn.
mouths and they couldn't
How did
fucking
they even?
breathe.
How did? By the way, how did they're the Wonder Twins? Okay, so they have to go Wonder Twins power activate. Shape of a what do they go? Shape of a hammer. Shape of a nails. Or like how do they do? Like one of them turned to a gorilla and they pick the box up. Or like because I mean, like that's literally like you would literally have to do. Like how did they get them in a box? Like that's my question. I just thought that was like it makes no sense how this happened. Like those cops would be dead first off because especially you see how many cops are in that box.
There were like fucking 5 of them in that crate.
There would be like one with their legs broken or something.
They are stacked up like cordwood, y'all. I hope I can find a photo to accurately like describe it, but they are stacked in this thing.
I did thought that was funny though. I thought that was I like that. I like that they're faking being the Blur. I thought that was really cool. But like, yeah, the first 5 seconds has to deal with cocaine and cops and the Blur. I'm like, yeah, I never seen a Superman movie where cocaine is mentioned ever. Cocaine.
No, not once.
It's like, wow, coke. It's like, yeah, we're undercover cops. And I'm just thinking, well, first off, I would check to verify first off that before I would let them out.
Those Wonder Twins did not fucking verify that they were undercover cops. They thought they were criminals.
They're
Well,
just
yeah.
kids, though.
They're
Like,
just fucking kids.
It's literally the boy from Seventh Heaven and the girlfriend that's Josh's girlfriend
Drake and Josh,
Drake and Josh. Yeah.
Drake and Josh, and she was in that Warehouse 18 or from that sci-fi show that she did on the Sci-Fi Channel.
I never
I've
saw
not watched
Warehouse
that show, but I know she's in it too. Yeah,
But I'm just saying, like the Wonder Twins, which I'm like, that's really cool though. Like, I thought that was really cool. We got the Wonder Twins, even though to be fair, we almost got a Wonder Twins movie years ago.
we almost did. Yeah, that's true.
And then Zaslav come in and said, this is a shitty script. And he saved this
It's like,
from
no,
the
we're
Wonder Twins.
not gonna put that out. I mean, I would not be surprised that one day we will get a Wonder Twins somehow with James Gunn's DCU.
okay, so I'm kind of dumb. It took me like way too long to figure out when you said Josh's girlfriend. I'm like, wait, is this the same actress? And sure enough, it's Allison Scagliotti, who was Mindy Crenshaw in one of like the first TV shows I ever binged, like when I was a kid, Drake and Josh. Like that's childhood for me. Like the scene.
One of the fun. Have you remember the scene though, Ryan? This is the funniest scene. She goes where she outwits Josh, where she goes, "Say the word fork, fork." He says, "Now spell it 4 times, Fork. He says, "Now what do you eat soup with? Fork." And she goes, "Really?
Fork.
Because hey, soup with a spoon." And then,
Fork.
Now, what do you eat soup with?
Fork.
I was like,
That was
and
actually funny. That was funny as hell. I love that joke. I love how she fucked with Josh's head like that.
In my head canon, Josh and Mindy got married and they have a lovely family together.
But did you know that David Gallagher, who was playing one of the Wonder Twins, who was also in Seventh Heaven, but he was also voiced Riku in the Kingdom Hearts franchise.
Oh yeah,
didn't know that.
I did not know.
Yeah, he
that.
played Riku. Yeah, he voiced Riku in the Kingdom Hearts game.
By the way, Ryan, you're gonna have to put that clip in from Drake and Josh, the fork clip.
Oh,
'Cause
please
I-
do.
you got to.
Going in, it's a certified classic.
I will say I did like them as the Wonder Twins. I thought that was really cool. Especially, I was like, are they going to have the pet monkey? Because in the comics, they have a pet monkey. The Wonder Twins have a pet monkey.
But they did not have the pet. There's no pet monkey.
They
They don't
just
have
have
the
a
pet.
phone. But you know what was cool though? We did get like it on the phone though, like a picture of the monkey on the phone. Which even I'm like, oh man, that's fine.
I
guess
would be
it's fine.
laughing if they did.
A CGI monkey.
They would not add a real monkey. They would add a CGI monkey if they were to have that phone call.
Because because it's like a purple or a blue monkey or something.
They're dressing up in the purple clothes and street clothes, that matching outfits technically, if you want to think about it. And they're just a bunch of fanboys who are fans of the Blur, and they wanted just to impersonate them and just spread the word out and inspire them to be heroes. I mean, I like the idea of it, but I just think the episode itself didn't have the best execution.
I do want to say one thing. That I was really happy that they used a real animal like a cougar, a real life cougar in this movie. I'm like,
They did.
They used a real
life
cougar. How was it CGI? It's a real cougar.
That cannot be CGI. That looked like a real life cougar in that episode.
I'm like, I had a nitpick that the cynical part of me was like, I'm really happy that there is a cougar, but the fact is they can afford a real cougar, but they can't afford real green screens. Because if you watch the Pandora episode, there are parts in that episode where Zod is standing on a green screen, and you can tell that is a damn
we'll
green
get to
screen.
that. We'll get to that part of the shot. I will critique that part of that episode of Pandora. But yeah, because you already know. Well, we already established that for season 8 through 10 that every in the episode that shot in Metropolis was shot on the soundstage and green screen. They're literally in the same area every time they film in that location.
They use some of the reshoot they do in this episode, reuse some footage from the episode where Brainiac puts his hand on the laptop and shuts down all the power of Metropolis.
Yeah, they did. When they were when the Wonder Twins
shouted
accidentally
out.
yeah, they accidentally fucking knock off the transformer in fucking Metropolis, and they reused that footage from the season 5 finale when Brainiac was using the virus on on the laptop. Everything shuts down in the blackout area.
I got something funny for Ryan, okay? Lois's ringtone is I Need a Hero.
Yeah,
I guess
I
David
noticed
S.
that
Sandberg.
too. I noticed that too, and I'm just like, I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards. Me in the future put the clip in there.
I just don't see that that's what Lois would put that on her ringtone. That was a little odd and too on the nose. Like, did they really had to go there?
Well,
Really?
to be fair, David F. Sandberg, I guess, saw this and said it's going in Shazam too.
Oh yeah, they did use that. I barely
That's
remember.
literally in there, like in the
I
whole
barely
Jack Fritz
remember.
sequence.
I don't remember much in the second one.
The one where, like, yeah, he likes David F. Sandberg, the guy who loves having his wife in all of his movies just to murder her in brutal ways.
Yeah, I know. Oh
Why is it
yeah,
all of his
I
movies
know. I
murder her?
recognize her from that fucking bridge. That was fucking the same woman that played the other actress, the scientist that gets fucking disintegrated.
It's like, why? How many people complain about James Gunn putting his wife on? I'm like, this dude murders his wife in every movie he puts her in. I'm like,
Yeah.
somewhere, if she his wife
Was she
ever.
was she in that the YouTube short from that
Yeah.
movie Lights Out? That she was the lead in that short film.
And she's also in Lights Out. She gets killed in the movie too. And I'm just thinking,
Apparently that's his therapeutic. He likes to murder his wife in every movie he directs. I
if
wouldn't
she
be
ever
surprised
goes missing, we know.
until we see like Until Dawn. I bet that his wife is going to be in it and she'll die in the movie.
I mean,
I'm sure there's nothing to look into with that.
if his wife ever goes missing, all this his filmography is not going to help him in court at all.
But did you notice in this episode when that Transformers got blown out, and then as Clark was taking the phone call with Lois, his voice changer got all messed up, and she hears Clark's voice like dun dun dun. He's the Blur. You just
I did like that.
I did like that part, but then he's constantly kept gaslighting her, constantly in this episode.
I think it's also I like that the DA was trying to kill Lois to find the Blur. Like,
Oh my god.
I thought that was really cool. Like I said, you can like basically because you outed him, I could literally make it any way I want to spin the story. I thought that was pretty cool. And Chloe pretending to be the Blur at the end, I thought was awesome. And the Wonder
Did you
Twins
notice that?
created
Did
a
you notice that
bomb.
she used like kind of like a neural processor, like AI fucking shit that was way ahead of its time? Now it's more relevant today than it was years ago.
To be fair, look at Scream. I mean, Scream uses the voice changer all the time.
They did no, they did that. They started doing that in the third
Hello,
movie.
Sydney.
They started using that voice changer in the third movie. So yeah, they took notes from Scream
Ryan,
3, and
I mean,
now
Matt.
and now, but now it's really
In Scream
relevant.
1, they have a voice changer. Have you seen her at the end where she walks in when Billy's like the killer, and
Yeah,
then Stu holds the thing, goes, "Surprise, Sydney." That's in
surprise,
Scream
City.
1.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
voice
that was
changer.
well, yeah, but that was a deep voice changer, but it didn't really match the actor who was on the phone call. So it was a little different than what we hear when it was on the end of the phone call from the voice changer. It
It
didn't
was
match the
Roger Craig
actor.
Smith.
Yeah, it wasn't really Roger's voice when Stu was revealing the Ghostface voice changer. It sounded way different. It's just like surprise, Sydney.
I could have swore that is it. I'm gonna have to go back and watch.
Yeah, go
Scream
back and
now.
rewatch it because it did not match. It wasn't that identical. It was literally still Matthew Lillard's voice when he was revealing himself as the Ghostface.
Okay, I'm gonna take your word. I'm gonna let you have. I'm gonna go back tonight. I'm gonna walk and say.
But short thing that we want to bring up. Speaking of when we were bringing up Scream, but with Matthew Lillard coming back, there's many speculations that it may not be the Scream true sequel that you're looking forward to. There's a speculation going around that they could do that Wes Craven's New Nightmare, where they're going full meta and they're going behind the scenes of the making of Scream.
That's not what that's. That
They
seems
could
like
go
it's
for that
just
New
gonna be-
Nightmare. They could
That
do that New
seems-
Nightmare thing.
From what I've read, it seems like they're just gonna make it a straight sequel, and
It,
it's
it
just-
might, but also they have a habit of misleading the fans because they're not gonna like it. Because if you're bringing back Stu, that could have been much more reveal if you show it in the movie and not show it before the film comes out.
you know what they might do, like kind of like what they did with Scream 4, or it's not Scream 4, Scream 5 and 6, where it's like a ghost of Billy Loomis.
Yeah, or
Like-
yeah, he could have been a hallucination. He could be a hallucination, or they could go for that AI route to fuck with Cindy's mind to really mess with her.
I hope it's not like
psychologically.
stupid, where it's like
Because if you're just bringing him back dead characters, especially when you're bringing Roman from Scream 3, who got his head blown off in the third movie, and you're bringing him back in the latest installment, how are you going to make that make sense?
some
The
people
only
said
thing
it could be like they're recreating the openings of because Sydney's mom was killed off screen.
Yeah, they could do
could-
that as a hallucination. That would make a lot
showing
more
her mom
logic
get
sense.
killed because her mom's returning too.
Oh yeah, the flashbacks. They could show the
Yeah,
flashbacks.
the flashbacks to show her mom getting killed by Billy and Stu, and
Yeah.
some people even speculate in the first Scream, like the scene that was Ghostface was watching her in the woods, or the Ghostface was at the grocery store with her. They're like Billy and Stu were at the
They probably want to
to
touch on that we know it happened off screen. They Roman mentioned that he was the one behind the whole thing and what made Billy and Stu be the killers.
Yeah.
that we know him now, and they want to show more context, that would be interesting.
I
Then
mean,
you're gonna have to de-age them.
Let me ask you this. Going back to this, Wonder Twins creating the fog so that Clark can save Lois. I thought that was great that Chloe, and especially Lois, was hanging on the ledge and like wanting Clark. It kind of reminded me of the scene in Man of Steel where she's like, "Don't like," she says, "I will die. Let me die, so that way you don't reveal yourself
Oh
to
yeah,
the
they were
world."
pulling that Pa Kent death thing.
I thought that was really wonderful. I thought it was
But that
like,
was before. But that was before the Pa Kent for Man of Steel. I think that we already know Zack Snyder how much he really
yeah,
saw
I'm saying that's what
Smallville, and he took
probably
notes from
inspired
it.
Zack Snyder for that, or yeah, and so I think that was what
Which
it
I'm
was.
always a big defender of the Pa Kent scene. I think it was like the biggest misunderstood scene
People
in
get
one of the
upset with
comic
that. I
book movies.
think it's fine. I'm like, look, he died, so he's like, look, I don't want my son being exposed to the
Because
world.
he's not ready for it, and especially when he brought up earlier in the movie, like should he just let people die? Maybe. Like he really went,
Yeah.
like he followed through his conviction. Because then if he suddenly lets him save them,
Yeah.
it gets exposed, and it makes him a hypocrite.
Especially like the only people that really know, the only people that really know he has superpowers is the kid with special needs that works at IHOP. I mean, really, that's the only person that knows he has
That's
superpowers.
Pete, and that's Pete Ross.
I mean, really,
Yeah.
I mean, just like so, it's like who's gonna believe a dude that is with special needs? I mean, no one. So it's like we're good, guys. He literally just like, I mean, really, we're
We
really good. Like no one's gonna believe him. Trust me. That's just Pete Ross.
all three of us, we got something coming to this channel, something Superman related, and we'll dive into all of that at that time. But this
Oh,
is an
I can't wait.
intriguing
Wait.
conversation for another time.
I will say though, going back to this, wouldn't it also like, for instance, Clark? The reason why the Wonder Twins is able to track because their phone. I'm like, wouldn't it be easier to track their IP address back to them? This was early 2000 before people knew how to block it.
Dude,
You know,
Chloe
this,
can hack into the fucking mainframe all the
and she could
time.
literally. They have a Facebook page. I mean, literally in Kick-Ass, the movie that came out in 2010, around the same time this came
That's
out.
true, yeah.
And Kick-Ass, Hit Girl is able to track Kick-Ass from his MySpace.
Remember when
page.
Facebook used to be cool? Remember that when it used to be cool back then?
Yeah,
Now
I'm
it's
just
not.
I mean, when she said, at least they didn't say MySpace. I'm glad she said Facebook and Twitter.
Did she say MySpace? I could have
No.
sworn she said MySpace as well.
She could have, but I did hear Facebook and Twitter, and I'm like, all right, respect that. You know, like this was.
The
But
only
I'm just
thing
saying,
missing, the only thing missing was like the SpongeBob quote where she is like, "We have technology," or something like that.
I can't remember what episode was it? I can't remember
I
from that
can't remember
SpongeBob.
the episode, but it's like liar, liar, plants for hire, and firmly grasp it with your hand, just like live rent free in my head. So
also,
It's
but yeah,
pants on fire, Patrick.
I know they're idiots because they're teenagers, the Wonder Twins. But like
Yeah.
they dropped their phone. You saw her with her phone, and then she gets scared. She drops her phone.
She's wearing a skirt that she wears her pocket or couldn't cover up her tank top. What the fuck? How does she drop her phone?
I just don't understand that logic. I'm like, there's no way. I mean, wouldn't it just be easier? Like but I guess because this was the year 2010s, they really couldn't do like, oh, I hacked her IP address because people would be like that. I couldn't understand what is an IP address. You know, I guess they couldn't. It was hard to explain, so they were just like, you know what? We'll just say she dropped her phone, even though Kick Ass does the same thing in 2010, and it makes perfectly freaking sense. You know, I'm just like Kick Ass can do it, but yet a fucking TV show and like can't do it. I'm just saying, are the writers that dumb? I'm just saying, like you can't. I mean, sorry, I'm just like ranting about the writers because it just pisses me off. Because like
The writers don't think that we're that
a British
smart.
writer, a British writer can figure this shit out. A British writer, but two Canadians can't.
And apparently Lois is in therapy talking about her repressed memories of having her
I
nightmare.
hated that.
I don't know how I feel about that. And also, you just fucking revealed Clark's identity to the fucking therapist. What the fuck are you doing, Lois?
Also, this therapist, look, I love how the therapist is just basically like, do you really think the man that you love would be like the guy Superman? And I'm just thinking, this therapist would be great at gaslighting.
She would be perfect for gaslighting.
This therapist would be great at.
I love the
Also-
funny moment. I love the funny moment when Lois goes up to that previous patient and she's like, "It's your parents' fault." I'm not gonna lie, I died laughing.
I did too. Also, this therapist would ban Lois from therapy session. She'd like say you got to get another therapist if she would have saw Lois do that because that is against the
If she
ethics.
caught her doing it, yeah, you
Yeah.
need another therapist, bro.
Also, this is my nitpick for this. Clark brings the Wonder Twins to Watchtower rather than just having a heart to heart with them at their house. He brings them to his secret location.
Not very bright. That's not a bright move. You should have taken them to the
when they wake
take them
up.
to the at least the Kent farm or something.
Why would he bring them to Watchtower? What if
I
they're
mean, how do you know
assholes?
you trust these kids? How do you
Yes,
know you trust them? You just literally gave away your secret
they
lair.
can say turn into a bear or something, attack Chloe, and then just turn back normal, and then hack in, just fuck around with the Watchtower. I'm just saying, there's a lot of things that they could do to fuck with you, Clark. Why would you trust them? Do not. Hey, I would at least wait until they wake up to see what's up. Instead, I just like because he puts that. Oh, they're just trying to help stuff way together too easily. And I really think Clark should have not you should wait until they wake up to see what their motives are.
Yeah.
Also, this is the biggest sin out of this whole episode. This is the biggest sin because I have the same shit with Arrow because Arrow likes to rip off the Batman Nolan movies.
Mm-hmm.
They rip off the fucking Dark Knight. The scene in the Dark Knight
Yeah.
where Harvey Dent's
Oh,
doing a
they
press
did.
conference about
They did. Yeah, just a moment when Clark was about to out himself until
I
Lois
was like,
came in and jumped in.
oh,
They pulled the Harvey Dent shit in the Dark Knight.
just like,
I texted you,
like,
Collins. I'm like, this is literally the podium scene where
This is Leo from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood do that meme like, oh.
like all those missing was light as dark as just before the dawn, and I can guarantee you the
She
dawn.
literally like paraphrased what Harvey Dent said in the fucking Dark Knight movie.
I'm like, congratulations, Smallville writers. You saw the Dark Knight. Congratulations.
That doesn't sound very original.
You saw the like everyone saw the Dark. I'm just saying, like, I get it. We get it. You saw the Dark Knight. Okay, congratulations. But you don't have to include. Look. If I was a writer,
Did you know? But did you notice in the beginning, the disciples, which we will get into, they keep reusing the same shot of the citywide of Gotham in Batman Begins. They used it again in the disciples episode.
The
I mean,
narrow.
at least say what you will about the Smallville, about the original showrunners, but at least they knew how to tell an original story. These showrunners,
Well, not
are ripping-
exactly. They do a lot of blockbuster hauls too. Like, make no mistake.
I mean, yes,
they're
but
not completely original what they do in those episodes.
89% of their stuff is original compared to their.
Let me tell you something. They use 89% of those episodes.
89% is great, but the other like the 11% is garbage. It's shit. It's not nada. Blah. Which I mean, but to be fair, these writers, I just feel like I love it. I like the first 2 or 3 seasons of Arrow, but like it pisses me off when they try to rip off the Batman movies. I'm like, but we get it, and they even admitted it too. That's the sad part with it.
Yeah, they did.
They
They
admitted
did.
it in Comic-Con interviews. Oh yeah, the scene we just imagine if the Dark Archer, like we imagine Batman Begins, the cutting the head off scene, and Batman Begins. We just imagine if Merlin did that, and I'm like, you're literally saying you're ripping off Batman Begins. I'm just saying.
Yeah, with Malcolm Merlin's motive to destroy the fucking Star City, the Glaze or whatever. That's literally a ripoff from what Ra's al Ghul was going to do in Batman Begins.
I'm just saying. I'm just like watching.
I mean, I didn't mind. I mean, I didn't mind that if they want to take a lot of influence from Nolan's, but as long as you do it well and it's not like, oh my god, you're just trying to copy and paste
when
off
it's a
of it.
homage and a ripoff are two different things. A homage is
exactly
it's an original idea with elements taken that are inspiration. But then, like for instance, Django Unchained is a homage to the spaghetti western.
But what they did in the early seasons of Arrow with the flashback in present day time, they took a lot of the homage to the Lost series, where you're jumping through flashback into present day time. Here's what's going on the island. Here's when they were not on the island. That's literally from Lost, if you really think about it.
It's like it's the Nolan Batman movies and Lost is what they rip off. Just like you were like, which I mean, you know what? That's Arrow. But this Smallville though. Smallville, I've always said, you know what? You can say what all you want about Arrow, but Smallville never ripped off any of the Nolan movies. And then I saw this, and I'm like, well, I can't say that shit anymore.
Well, the joke's on you.
They rip off the Dark Knight, the Dark Knight, and then like Lois, which I'm just thinking, like I was like waiting. I'm like, oh, if he starts to walk up there, and then they do like the whole like I am Superman. Or I am the Blur. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go. I'm just.
It's like, dude, you made him like you did that the first time around in the last season. You think that what's going to be any different the second time around?
I mean,
you became a public enemy.
I will, and also I think when the DEA have enough, how will the DEA have enough time to make a blur symbol before Lois gets there when he sets the thing on Lois's table?
I guess they had a lot of his men doing all the fucking spraying the graffiti on top of the fucking building.
He had there's 3 of them. Even if they're making that symbol, Lois, but like he would never. How did he even have enough time? Lois could have literally just walked up there and they're in the middle going like, "Can you wait 5 minutes? Just pretend I can't see this." Also, Lois didn't. If I walk in a room, I would see if there's something on the ground. I wouldn't just be like, Lois just walks up and she's like this, like. not looking on the ground. And I'm just thinking, Lois would be bad if she was on snakes on a plane because the snakes would just be biting her ass left and right because she'd be like, I am going to walk straight without looking down, you know?
Oh yeah, and in the end of the episode, we got a little bit of the tease of the Clark Kent disguise with the glasses.
I love
Where
that.
now he's trying to figure out his dual identity.
Well, we've got two other episodes to get to, so let's call it a day on this one. But Collins, 1 to 10.
I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, it's a 6. I'm with Jake on this one.
Oh, we are in agreement. It's a 6 as well. Not a terrible episode by any means, but it it's weird and then just like stuff that just is like I just didn't care for. But shout out to Mindy Crenshaw. She likes Josh's sweat. But let's
But I'm at a point where, dude, fucking just tell Lois by now. Jesus Christ, why keep save the hassle?
Stick your tongue down her
they're
throat, Clark.
doing the Lana thing where it's like they need to shit or get off the pot with this thing, but
There you go.
unlike Lana where we don't know, here we actually know what the result is going to be because we've read comics before, but I digress. Let's get into season 9, episode 9 called Pandora.
Welcome to our future, where everything has changed.
We made all the wrong choices. A lot of people died.
Smallville, an all-new episode next Friday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
Tess kidnaps Lois to find out where Lois went after she disappeared for weeks. Lois's memory of the future depicts a metropolis under Zod's rule, and Clark powerless under the Red Sun, while Chloe forms a resistance group with Oliver. After learning of these future events, Clark makes an important decision about Zod. So this is collectively our favorite episode of the three this week. This episode was great. And just basically, for lack of a better word, the doomsday scenario, this is it.
This was like another level of the episode, kind of like a season 7 apocalypse episode,
Mhm.
showing you what he looked like if he wasn't around. President Lex Luthor starts World War III, even though it's not as like on the same level of that episode because that one puts you on your adrenaline rush and it stressed you out. Like, oh my God, is this really happening? This one is still a dark episode, but it was still great to see the perspective of what happens when Zod takes over.
Also, I like how whenever like when Zod gets at the Luthor mansion and then he says, try the truffles. They're my favorite.
Yeah, but
And
here's
she
the thing.
goes,
His headquarters is the fucking Luthor Mansion. Why don't you just take the White House?
Oh,
Again,
no.
remember the Apocalypse
That's not even the
episode
worst
when
part.
fucking Lex his own White House was the Luthor Mansion because the set
They
people
can't
the production,
farm.
they got fucking sheep and they used the
can't
Kent
farm.
farm as their fucking camp.
And
As
they even say it too.
their
I'm like,
prison camp.
they even say it. Like he used his Clark's own farm as I'm like, okay, I understand from a production standpoint why you used it, but for you actually saying it makes it look even stupider.
Yeah, even he's like, hey, he gave it up. It's like I did it for Lois. Why?
You gave a farm.
You gave
Why
the
would they
farm
use,
up for the
you got
camp.
Guantanamo Bay, you got all the prisons, you have factories.
It's a Holocaust. It's a fucking Nazi war camp.
Farm. It's not even a big farm either. I'm just thinking, like, why would you even use the smallest farm? I'm just thinking that makes Zod look stupid. It really makes Zod look kind of incompetent.
In reality, it just makes him stupid. Like, dude, out of all the places that you conquered the world,
this will teach him his farm.
Let's use the Ken farm.
Yeah. I'm a psychopath who likes. I'm gonna go to this farm where he's gonna be the cattle.
I'm gonna teach Clark a lesson. He'll kneel before me. I'm gonna take his.
You know, you had your private moments at your farm. Guess what? There's gonna be slaves at your farm now. Burn.
And we're gonna burn them in the back.
You know the rose that you gave Lana? It's gone. What's that? I'm so evil. This makes Terrence Stamps and Superman.
But also, like, I wish that the Kryptonians, that the Kandorians was able to build a Kryptonian suit of their own instead of, oh yeah, let's just have them wear a fucking black trench coat from the Matrix and let's rip off the fucking shirt graffiti emblem like fucking like
it's
Clark did
the same
as the
outfit too. It's exactly
like you're just
the same
copying off
outfit.
of them. You're not being totally original with your outfit. Like, come on, dude. The people with the wardrobe of the Matrix, they want that back. Let's go.
It's
It's like, come on.
I
Why?
like
I mean, I get that they're being cheap and that they just can't afford a really good costume, but
and
come on, bro.
and you know, at least with Al Miles, they actually said, look, they tried to mimic Superman too, and so they just gave him long black dress shirts and said, you know what, these are like, because they wanted them, like, first when they come out of the ship, in Smallville season 5, they're wearing like war armor, like almost like gladiator armor,
Yeah.
and then like they put on black dress shirts because they wanted to mimic Superman too, how Zod looked in Superman to his people.
I
And
would have
this
I would have
time
liked
around,
that.
like,
I would have liked that more.
and I'm like, I look, I understand, like, obviously because they came all naked out of the orb. Like,
That's right. You're right. You have a good point. I mean, honestly, but they couldn't have a great tailor. They
like
couldn't
they put.
hire a fucking tailor for this shit.
I mean, why?
No,
I would
it's
like them.
all leather all the time.
Would it be weirder if they dressed like just like wore the black dress shirts like they wore in season 5? Like, if they would you be like, would you like that more, or do you like them dressing like soldiers more?
Soldiers would have been much better. I would have loved it if they would dress as soldiers
Well,
because they're
Zod still dressed
military.
like a soldier, and
Because
even
he is a military. They are the military.
Zod still dressed like a
And
soldier.
now
Like,
in this one, like 1 year time jump, he's now a general. He's now a general to his own army now that they've taken over the world.
yeah. This episode's basically season 3 memoriam, where like Clark sees his past. Only this time it's them seeing their
Especially when you're
future.
using those kryptonite thing to go through your memories. That's sort of like that. And they did the same thing in the episode with Lex and Clark when he's in this Lex's mind in season 7.
That's where I was going to. I was like, what is it besides that one? I'm
I
like,
can't remember what the title of the episode
It's
was.
where Lex is shot in the face or whatever.
He was shot in the head. He was shot in the head. He was in a medical induced coma. He had to get inside his mind to find where Kara's location is at, to where they are.
Which I thought this was a good episode. I mean, I don't care how good your tech is. You can't see someone's memory. I'm sorry. It just makes no
well,
sense.
here's the thing. They're at a point where now that these techs are now more possible and it's ahead of its time, or it doesn't even exist. We're like at that point as more of a fantasy.
It's just like, okay, we can see your memories.
But also those needles are sticking into her fucking brain. Like, how are you still standing? You're getting stabbed into the fucking brain of your skull.
That not also the fact is also, wouldn't Lois, this is something that bothered me. Wouldn't Lois know who Zod is from season 6? Because when he said Zod, she's like, who is Zod? And I'm just thinking,
I don't think so.
Stupid? Because,
Well, no,
I mean,
because she wasn't there because she was on the plane crash with
yeah,
Martha
but everybody
at the
know
Arctic.
about Dark Thursday, including.
Well, they know about Dark Thursday, but they didn't really know anything about the name Zod. They just know that Lex Luthor caused a lot of chaos, so they didn't really mention the name Zod. Only Lex know and Lana know.
Okay, I'll give that. Out of everything that's happening, though, the one thing Lois can't believe is that Clark and Chloe aren't friends anymore.
Yeah, because you got to remember because when Lois went missing a year when she was not present, and in this alternate timeline, he shut himself off from everyone he knows because he wanted to train to be a great Kryptonian.
Yeah,
he had to train himself.
Out of an alien invasion of aliens taking over the human universe, out of like aliens having superpowers, and out of everybody like people being slaves and there being a resistance, the one thing that Lois cannot believe, the one thing out of every single thing that's happening right now, she can't believe is that two people aren't friends anymore. Out of everything that is happening right now, that is the one thing where she draws the line that we're like, that's unbelievable. I'm like,
I was kind of flabbergasted that like she had maple donuts on her mind. I'm just sitting here like, look, you are in the nightmare spelled KNIGHTMARE scenario, and you're thinking about donuts right now? Like priority.
Hey, you know what? Donuts are fucking delicious.
Oh,
they're
fair enough, I
delicious,
guess. But
It's like, fuck you, donuts are awesome. They're delicious.
hey, I'm like Harold and Kumar going
Guantanamo Bay, the fucking Guantanamo
the terrorists
Bay.
are like,
I feel like they fucking took.
kids?
Did they just took notes from that because that came out in 2008 for Guantanamo Bay movie?
I mean, they ripped off the Dark Knight. They might as well rip off the biggest comedy of the year.
It's like, fuck you, donuts are awesome. They're delicious.
They're delicious. I mean, that was the biggest comedy of 2008. So I mean, they probably did rip it off. I mean, like everybody saw that movie in 2008. So I mean,
I literally thought the punishment was cock me sandwich in this episode. I'm like, oh my god, here we go.
All of a sudden, the black dude, the black Kryptonian, just like he gets on his knee, and he's like, "Come on, buddy." He drops his britches, like, "Oh god." was like shit. Oh my god, have you seen that movie, Ryan?
I can imagine. I can fucking imagine that actually.
Have you've seen Ryan Held and Kumar, right? Ryan, the second Held and Kumar.
Have you?
I've seen Go to White Castle. That movie's awesome.
Guantanamo Bay. You got to watch that, man. It was like the biggest. It was like there's 3 movies that were.
That was like the
biggest movies
fucking
that
biggest
made.
anti-fascism in that movie. If you really think
like,
about
yeah,
it.
I think it was. It made a lot of money too. Like it was like the third.
Oh yeah, it
biggest
made
movie
money.
in
Well,
2008.
because the first one was really successful commercially, and then the second one came out, and it made a little bit more.
Oh yeah, some people like George Bush is in that movie. Well, they're not.
Oh, was it
really
yeah, it was
Bush.
like a fake George Bush cameo.
It was a great. That's what some people were like. Oh yeah, they're getting high with George Bush in this movie.
It was a heavily a fucking.
It was
political.
yeah. It was like a war on terrorism. It was kind of like the message to the war. On
Yeah,
terrorism.
it was still during the time during the war on terror.
Yeah, like they said, it was a comedy about like 2 people that are right through the Bush administration that are mistaken for terrorists, and they're on the run from terror in Alabama and Florida.
Yeah. And they're on the manhunt. It's literally like the ripoff from The Fugitive style.
It is literally so good, though. I mean, it's like I didn't like the third one as much, but the first 2 are really good, and especially the second one. I love the second one. Ryan, you got to watch it. It's really good.
All right,
Christopher Maloney is in it again, and he plays a freaking. I'm not gonna say who he plays, but it is one of the most fucked up cameos. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah,
I will keep that in mind.
But yeah, this though, okay, yeah, this one, yeah, this whole episode I really like, but yeah, I also we alluded to this earlier, me and Matt. The CGI this episode is questionable.
Which part? What do you mean? You're talking about the green screen one? The green screens?
The one that I'm like, okay, what the fuck are we watching?
Yeah, it was the scene. Yeah, it was
the arrow, and then you see a bunch of black dots.
Yeah, but you're seeing a bunch of fucking thousands of Kryptonians flying near him. I was like, what the hell is he gonna do?
What is it, a 1970s Flash Gordon movie or something?
It must be. It must be like the fucking Flash Gordon on steroids. Like, what is he gonna do? You have no kryptonite arrow. Where's your kryptonite weapons? Where the hell did that go?
I started laughing when he did that. I saw him like, what the hell is this?
Like, dude, you're actually a dead man walking. Like, you didn't even need thousands of Kryptonians. You can only need one. Flick, you're dead. You're gone.
I'm just saying, it would have been more effective. That scene would have been more effective if Oliver would have did this and you would have heard like them coming. Like, remember Lost Boys? I didn't have a big budget, but you knew fear whenever you saw the camera was coming at the security guard in Lost Boys. That is effective fear. This of like they should have did something like that, but instead they have a bunch of CGI dots coming at Oliver.
It's like, hey, let's have a fucking thousands of them. Like, why do you need thousands? Why?
Run, Oliver! They're gonna make you look like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. Run! With all these black dots are coming at you, Oliver. Run! They're gonna cancel you the second they get to you.
Jesus.
Oliver was canceled off screen because we couldn't show the scene of him after the black dots. It's like just click this as Oliver was canceled off screen. I was like, but yeah, I thought, yeah, that, and also the shot with Zod, I thought was like, what the hell?
Yeah, that was a questionable obvious green screen. When you watch it in high definition, it just looks really bad.
It looked like the
moment that
the
moment that they got rid of the red sun and the yellow sun restores, and you see him standing near a fucking blurred background building that looked like a fucking green screen, obvious green screen. It looked really bad.
I owed the Sci-Fi Channel apology because they have actually upped their game compared to like this. Because used to network TV had better CGI. The Sci-Fi Channel used to be a joke because they did movies that were like terrible CGI. This made the Sci-Fi Channel CGI look like, oh my god, this is amazing.
It made them look better than the others.
And I'm just gonna say this: this was 2 years from Game of Thrones, or this was maybe a year before Game of Thrones premiere.
Well, that's because HBO had the much higher budget because it was the most expensive show to make.
Which, yeah, but this was just, I'm just saying, for a TV show.
But this is on a network, but this was on a network show.
And
even still, there's like no excuse for like some of the shots here. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awful. I mean.
Oh, yeah. Now we see Lois and Clark doing their love making in that scene. Their little beautiful love scene.
Ryan's watching, getting his lotion ready. He's putting the lotion
get your
in the
socks,
basket.
get your socks out.
He's going American Pie. If you've seen American Pie,
it's like Deadpool said, "Get your special sock out, nerds."
All right.
But,
But
but
yeah,
Chloe's a little bit more cold-blooded
she
motherfucking
dies in this.
murderer.
So does Tess. Both. I love that
She
too. I was like,
fucking straight up murdered Tess with no hesitation, dude.
Yeah, I like that.
But
Chloe
also,
was
Tess
dying.
really annoyed me. Tess really annoyed me in this episode. Like, wait, you were just an opportunist. Like, I'm here to save the planet. No, you weren't. You,
No,
you didn't do shit. You just made it
I
worse.
also,
you say
I
you're
also
better
really
than Lex, but Lex never did anything like this. So
well. To be
Lex would
fair,
not
he
be Lex would not be
look.
such a pansy and just say, "Oh, join his side, the winning
I do
side."
like Zod stabbing Clark, and I do like Clark confronting present day Zod and Zod saying kneel before Kal-El.
That was
I
good.
thought those were great.
Because he was trying to figure out a way to not fight him as an enemy because he's seen what happened in the alternate
And then
future.
he contradicts that shit the next episode. As I was telling Ryan,
Yeah, I
he
know that really
contradicts
pissed
that
me off. I
shit
was
in the
like,
next
wait,
episode.
what happened to try to be friends with Zod?
And then he's
And
like,
yeah,
"Fuck
you
off,
just
Zod! You
completely
did
are
it
now
again.
trying to make him an
People." I'm like,
enemy.
what happened last week? Last week you were like, I need to save Zod. This week you're like,
I
fuck
feel like
you,
the writers
you
are
fucking bastard.
contradicting. The writers totally contradict with Clark's purpose.
I'm gonna get if I had to give this a score though, it's a 9 out of 10 episode.
okay, Matt.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 9.
Yeah, we're in agreement. I'm going 9 as well. This was best of the three. It's a lot of fun, great stuff all around. And
I know we're nitpicking
Hey,
and ranting on this, and it sounds like we just fucking shit on this episode, but we don't. We really love this
guys,
episode.
I'll be right back. You talk about the next episode. I'll be right back. You got my notes around real quick, okay? I'll be right back.
yes.
In like
Are you gonna
5
be in the
minutes.
bathroom?
Yeah. As I said, you got my
Well,
notes, Ryan. Ryan, you got my notes. All right. I'll be
well,
right
while
back. You talk about the next episode.
while Collins takes care of business, we shall carry on. This is season 9, episode 10, called Disciple.
You've done a hell of a job keeping the world safe on your own, Clark. I'm here to help you now. Something tells me soon the world will need all the help it can get.
Smallville, all new episode Friday, January 22nd on the CW.
Quite simply, someone with Oliver's skills as an archer takes aim at Lois and Chloe. So, this is a bit of a weird one, Matt, because like I get it, like Green Arrow has a rogues gallery, but at the same time, this seemed like a bit of a weird like detour. Like you're gonna introduce the rogues gallery now, like this late in the game. I don't know. Like, what did you think?
It was a little bit too convenient because especially where Oliver's training his new apprentice Speedy. So it seems like that the reason why the Dark Archer came out of the shadows as all of these years is because he wanted to like finally give him the ultimate test by killing his own master. And I think that was a little odd, but also what they totally took notes from the fucking Batman Begins. You really think about it. He joined a fucking cult, which is something that Bruce Wayne did in Batman Begins when he joined a cult. The League of Shadows, or literally a cult, if you really think about it. He's basically the Ra's al Ghul figure in this episode to me, and it
I'm
was
not going to
and I
lie.
thought it was very ironic and very funny that Chloe named like almost pretty much like gave a wink and nod from Batman. It's like it's not the first time that a billionaire joins a cult.
I'm not gonna lie, I did not get the Batman Begins connection, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, the Dark Archer is, I mean, I guess Ra's al Ghul or like
But
Bane.
I will give credit where credit is due because you have to really make sense of how Oliver was learning how to do all these archery skills and martial arts. Because on the island, he literally self-taught how to do archery in season 8, but we didn't really get the full scoop of how he was able to pick up everything else after he got off the island. And because he was on that island for like 2 years, and according to his records, he disappeared after he got off the island and joined a cult because he really wanted to get better at it and becoming a good crime fighter. So basically, he became the Batman, even though that technically he was more of the influence from Tony Stark in this version of Green Arrow. But yeah, this was literally like Batman Begins a reference.
I like the idea of this order of archers, and I love the little hedge maze that Oliver and the Dark Archer fight in. I pray for the poor lawn care maintenance people that had to like cut all of that with hedge clippers like that must have taken
Dude, he took
forever
a
and a
sweet.
day.
No wonder why he took so long to come out of the showers. He was working on the fucking maze.
It took 8 entire seasons just to build
That
that.
took 20 fucking years. And I found it was so funny that Oliver was referencing off of Kill Bill 3, doing that whole poking fun of it. Oh yeah,
I,
I told you to training, not showing up in the audition for Kill Bill 3
I
after he was trying to choke the life out of her.
actually recently just watched Kill Bill 1 and 2 for the first time. I Here's a bold statement. I think Kill Bill is Quentin Tarantino's best overall movie. We're talking 1 and 2 as
Oh,
a complete
wait, did you watch those two movies recently?
like just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, dude, like better late than never, dude. It's probably his best work
His
because
best
volume
work,
one, because literally volume one and two were split into two movies because it was made to be a 4 hour movie,
yeah, and he had to cut it because it was too long. I'm aware, but I mean, just like I could gush about Kill Bill for days and days,
which
but
I desperately want to get those 4K Blu-ray movies for volume one and two that just recently came out.
yeah, but that's a story for another time. Zod has some great lines here. Like I
Oh
love the
yeah.
line where he talks about the apple and about how apples ruin civilizations, which I mean, I like apples, so I'm gonna be side-eyeing
Hey,
apples.
we all like apples. We like them. How do you like them apples?
Apparently not the top knot guy from Goodwill Hunting, but that's a whole different story.
But it was kind of funny. I find it very funny that Clark contradicted his purpose to try to befriend Assad. But in this episode, towards the end, he treated him now more of the enemy. They kind of reversed that shit. They went all Uno on him.
I mean, really, I mean, like I think I was sitting when I was sitting on my throne just now, I was thinking about Zod, I said, the writer or director of the last episode must have been like, you know what, Clark should be more sympathetic towards Zod, saying like a Clark, like a him and Lex situation where he's like, I can save him, where Clark believed he could save Lex, and then the writer and director of this episode must have been like, Clark hates Zod. He knows what Zod is. He's like, fuck you, Zod. You ever come near me again, I
He
will
probably
destroy
he
your
probably
people.
given the bird. He probably give the writer of the bird and say, "Fuck you, we're not going that direction."
Which I mean, I think honestly though, like Clark would never say, "Oh, tell them, oh, I will destroy your people if you come near Lois again. I will destroy you and your people." I'm like, he would never say that. He would
No, he would
say,
never say that. But I think it was just in the moment that he was so pissed off because now like Zod is just using her as a pawn in his own little private scheme of it, just to get him and the Ken Dorian's abilities because he has his own personal agenda.
"Uh, one thing I do like is Zod's line about the apple."
Yeah, we brought that up earlier. Yeah, about the whole
Yeah,
apple, the
and
Trojan, and all that shit.
and Zod pleading with Clark about their powers and the humans are the enemy. I thought that was really great, and I
Wow,
liked it.
he just likes to walk into his home unannounced.
Everybody cut like we have no
Everybody's walking towards the fucking door when
like
it's
I
already
think Ryan
open.
would agree. Everybody's house in Smallville is basically there's no door knobs, door locks. It's just
No
you can walk
locks,
in.
no
I mean,
security.
do you ever notice that in sitcom shows that the fucking supporting characters are not that go walks in the
They
people's
go into the
houses?
main character's house all the time, like Good Times,
They
that
waltz
70
in there
show,
unannounced without knocking on the goddamn door. It's like
Sanford
they just walks
Television.
right in, drink their fucking brewskis like it's nothing. Like, what are you doing?
The
I mean,
only
I would say
person
that like because I guarantee you, if I walked in Ryan's house uninvited and just started grabbing stuff out of his refrigerator, I'm not sure he's gonna be like, "Oh, that Jake."
It's like,
I'm sure he's gonna
oh,
have a
don't
stronger
worry,
reaction. He's like, "Well,
nah.
what the fuck, man?" Like he says, "I don't." You could ask first. You could literally knock on
I
my
know
door.
that's not what happened with real life. I'd be like, what are you doing?
the
Well,
only
you walk in
person
someone's.
that the only person that practiced neighbor etiquette in sitcom history was Wilson from Home Improvement. You're looking kind of down, Tim.
I found it very funny that the fucking neighbor just hides his face throughout the whole show and never shows his face from the neighbor. That's just a
Well,
little
there was
odd
one
choice.
time, and I can't remember the episode off the top of my head, but I think there was one time where you saw like his mouth, but like not his like here up. So
Yeah.
you never saw his full face, but there was like an episode where like his head up here was covered, but you could see his mouth move.
Also,
I
remember when he had the play? Whenever at the play, they like one time like the kids had her play, and Wilson was the director of the play, and then like he had a light, the lamp covering his face, and it was just like he's talking, giving direction, with the lamp is covering his face, and I'm just laughing.
I mean, I don't know who came up with that idea to do that in the first place, just for the
Well,
comedic
Tim.
purposes. Like I
Well,
never
Tim.
really get that.
Well, I mean, it's a fun gag show. Like, oh, I want to see his face. I want to see if he
It's like we're
reveals his
so
face.
desperate all these years. Like, what does he fucking look like? Why is he hiding his face?
Does he have a scar? Is he
Does he have a
like?
fucked up scar or burns on his face or something?
Oh, I thought that was funny. He said, "Well, Tim, let me tell you something. And I'm just like, yeah, which I thought that was. He's always like Mr. Feeney
I think
from
that was
Brooklyn
just their
Nine-Nine.
excuse to keep the fans watching the show, and hopefully he would reveal his face at some point in the
He
show.
never does, even in
And
the
he
finale.
never
He
does.
never
He
reveals
fucking
his
never
face.
does.
Like, that's just like the one thing they never do. Which I also like. I like Disciple. I do like that Oliver's mentor is going after the people he cares about. Like, which is the character is basically Merlin.
I mean, this is literally the Oliver centric episode
Yeah, this is
again.
basically an era. This is basically a almost an origin story of Oliver. Oh well, like his essentially this is basically Batman Begins because you have
Yeah,
basically
we were literally bringing that up earlier when you were not here. We did bring up that they totally referenced from Batman Begins.
I mean, I did think this. Yeah, Merlin going after Speedy. I thought that was really cool in the maze, and I thought that was Zod meeting Lois, and I also like Zod. And I also like that. I do wish he was called Merlin and not being called Vortigern because I'm like that's kind of stupid.
Well, it's probably not the same character. They just use not the fucking
He even
Malcolm
looks,
Merlin from
dude.
the
He looks
comic
like the
books.
character. It even says on a trivia page, "Oh, this character is heavily based off of Merlin," but they just called him
Yeah,
Vortigern instead because
yeah, they totally changed his name in the Smallville version for the Dark
my
Archer.
theory is maybe because that I guess they were maybe if they were decide maybe if we decide to do a spinoff show because that way we could bring him back or we could have maybe call it Merlin. Like because in the show Arrow, Merlin doesn't train Oliver. It is
Did you notice that Chloe well, not name dropped it, she totally like reference off from Bruce Wayne. It's like the first time that a billionaire joins a cult. Get it? Because
yeah.
Bruce Wayne joined a cult for the League of Shadows in Batman Begins.
Yeah. Also, no
No,
one sees Lois get shot, by the way. They come out of a theater. No one sees Lois get shot. And
I never
also,
picked up on that until your notes like said like, oh yeah, why did nobody see a woman get just casually
They don't
shot
have they
in the
can't
chest?
afford more extras in this fucking episode. They got cheap about it.
like, she literally just has her car broke down by the theater. That's just like, literally, she could literally throw like anything, a pebble, and bust the window of the theater because it's right there within distance. And then all of a sudden, she could literally ran to the theater when he shot her with the arrow. And instead, like she hits her with the arrow, and then even the usher, the guy who had the ticket holder, didn't see nothing. And like everybody's just like, that's not our
And that was a
problem.
giant ass full moon too. That was a giant ass full moon.
I mean, Evil Dead has a huge ass full moon as well, so I'm just saying.
That's true. That is true.
Also, wouldn't Chloe yell help whenever she sits there? She just sits there, like she gets shot, and she just goes.
She runs. She's like, oh
She
my
runs
god,
and gets
just
shot,
runs
and then
like
she just accepts her fate. Like she goes, well, shit, I'm dead. Like
fuck. Like fuck me.
she should have yelled, help, police! This is like Ryan. What's that clip? Put that clip.
It's
Help,
the dude in the
police!
subway. I know the one you mean. It's going
Put
in.
that clip in there and put what Chloe should have done. Like,
Help! Help! Police! Help!
Police!
because Clark was coming in there, he could have stopped the guy, and he could have stopped the last half of this episode. Just saying, this is literally Chloe's fault. Also, Clark has super speed, but doesn't go to see if he can spot the archer.
I know. That's odd.
He just goes, I'll get you one day. I just like
Also, he didn't hear any
Superman.
danger coming. He did not hear that coming.
Wait, this is Superman. At one point. This isn't Batman. This is Superman.
That's
Super
true.
isn't his word. Super. I'm just saying.
Also, he caught those bunch of flying arrows that were flying at Oliver. He would have been done for if Clark had intervened.
Yeah,
He would have
Oliver
been
was going
done.
to sacrifice himself. Also, Merlin just abducts Speedy in public, like literally, just in the exact. By the way, this is probably the same image of the theater where the theater was. Just abducts her, doesn't shoot her with an arrow, nothing. Just shows up and goes, "I'm taking you." I'm just thinking, you've been like so like in like the shadows and abducting people with arrows and stabbing people. This is the first one you're just like, I'm gonna take her by force with my hands. Like what if she would have fought back, or what if somebody would have fought? I'm just saying, like that makes no sense.
You could have knocked her out with your arrows.
I mean, I'm just saying, poison, like you put like shoot like gas and then knock them down. Also, there's no way a computer in 2009 could pick up that image or with a picture of her in the maze. I'm sorry, that would never happen.
That was a total BS technology.
That was an 8K.
That was an AK shit right there, dude.
I'm like, I don't care
Really?
how good your computer is. There's no way you're gonna spot that.
But it's a future tech that doesn't exist at the time because you know how they are now. It's more fantasy.
Also, Clark could have knocked the Dark Archer out, but instead he lets Oliver shoot him with an arrow. I'm just like, it felt like they needed Clark for some reason in this episode, and this is the only way they could fit him in. I'm like,
We had two storylines. We literally had two storylines in this episode with Zod, and then we had to deal with Bourne again with the Dark Archer storyline.
I'm just saying, like Oliver should have let Oliver deal with this all by himself, and then Clark could have dealt with Zod. Instead, they had to merge like somehow these two stories together, and I was just like, I don't give a shit about this.
Yeah, we just had to have Chloe and Clark investigate what the fuck's going on with Bourne again and Oliver's history with the guy.
Yeah, I just think this is just like a full of shit.
Yeah, we still deal with Oliver's demons again that we've dealt with many times before.
Let's see, I'm trying to figure out what was the next episode. What are the next
After
episodes?
directly after this one, next week.
It's Absolute Justice episode, which is like an hour and 24-minute episode event.
That's a long.
So we might do. What
because of that, the reason why it's long because they split it. There was a two-parter episode when it aired on TV, but now when you watch it on digital and watch it on Blu-ray, it's all in one episode. It's merged into one.
So why don't we do next week? We'll do Absolute Justice and Warriors, since it's like basically 2 episodes. Absolute Justice is 2 episodes into one, so we can do Absolute Justice and then Warrior next week.
Okay. That is an executive decision, and I am endorsing it.
So for Absolute Justice for Tuesday?
Yes.
I was just saying we could like for next Thursday.
We could do that next Thursday. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Next Thursday we could do 2. Yeah, we'll do Absolute Justice and Warrior, which Absolute Justice is basically a blink of a fucking movie.
Well, yeah, it's literally an hour and a half episode.
Well, let's put the period at the end of this one, that being Disciple. So, Jacob, 1 to 10.
I am going to give this a 7 out of 10.
Okay, Matt?
Yeah, I like this episode more than Idol. It's it's better than the other one. So yeah, I'm definitely with you on this. This is a 7 out of 10. It's a solid episode.
Oh, we're in agreement again. I'm going 7 as well. This was fun.
I guess the rating is more simpatico. And also the one thing I want to bring up before we wrap this up, Zod mentioned about the Book of Rao, that he thinks that Clark knows where to find it because Jor-El put that on Earth, and it might be the source to bring up the Red Sun that would like get their powers back. That was brought up in the end of the episode.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
Because if you watch that one episode of Kendor, Chloe saw Jor-El put that Book of Rao, the botanical disc, in the Kent farm, and now it's disappeared. It's nowhere to be found. So who has that now?
I'm like, yes, he's a fucking photographer. Of course he's gonna be looking at your girl. He's a fucking photographer. Of course he is. Like, what
that's
the hell?
his job.
Like, if he was doing this, that would be concerning. If he's shooting the wind, that would be more concerning. I mean, this dude, The Weeknd's basically Kanye West, okay?
All right, well, let's not go quite that far. The Weeknd hasn't said
in the show, not in real life.
Okay, fair enough.
In the show, not in real life. In the Weeknd, he's not a bad guy. I'm just saying, in the show, he's basically Kanye West, and he's just like, oh, my girl's gonna walk around, and she's gonna be my side piece and all that. I'm just thinking, this is literally, he's just Kanye West in the show. I mean, by the way, have y'all seen the picture? Have y'all seen the Grammys? Kanye West at the Grammys.
Who did not see that fucking post?
The funniest picture I saw was this little kid.
Like, can they come up with any crazy fucking shit that's going on in today's world, and they do pull this bullshit?
I was not surprised. What I was surprised was Jaden Smith just shows up with like a
fucking black house on his fucking head. Like, what is going on right now?
There's
so many fucking memes from that too. Like, what is going on right now?
Someone called him the R word, literally. Like, said,
oh my god,
R word, because he wore that, and he goes, "Thank you." I'm just laughing because
it's just so fucking unreal that today we live in for the big hits, just to get hits of this shit. Come on, bro.
I was just like, why are you wearing?
We have to hit this fucking clown factory.
That's like something like a costume. That's like a Halloween costume you wear at a bad Halloween costume when you have nothing to wear.
Someone needs to get your fucking fashion advice or something. What is going on?
I mean, I'm just like, It's like he went down to Party City. It
I
was
feel like
like,
they're fucking.
this
I
is
feel like
what's
their
gonna.
fucking press came out was like, hey, let's come up with some crazy fucking outfits that they can do to take photos and get hits on social media and get people talking about it from the Grammys.
It's almost like he went down to Party City and just said, "I need something to wear." All right, this is something.
Did you get drunk? Did you get drunk or something? And they like, hey, let's put the fucking house on your fucking head.
It's like,
Or have fucking Kanye's fucking woman dress up in the fucking new dress. Like, what is going on right now?
I mean, then like one girl just shows up wearing a dress and a MAGA hat, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, okay,
It's like,
everybody else is
okay,
dressing weirdly. Let's just wear everybody else is dressing
this is
fucking weird.
weirdest shit that we can come
Let's
up
just
with.
let's just dress however the fuck we want now. I said, this guy.
I feel like they're doing this for the meme purposes, as a meme worthy.
Like, I'm just like, everybody else is dressing up weird. I mean, to be fair, the girl with the mega, that was the one outfit that at least was decent compared to the naked one, and then the dude with a fucking house on his house.
A
Dude,
black fucking house on his head. Can you be that fucking on the nose?
Y'all should see the Met Gala sometimes. They are on a whole different galaxy with that one.
Lady Gaga she one time dressed like a thing of meat.
She did.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I remember.
One time she like at the MTV, I think it was the MTV Video Music Awards. She walked around in an egg, like a plastic egg, like a bubble.
I think I don't know. I think I remember maybe.
I remember.
And people were just like mocking her because they said it was like way back around 2011 or 2012. And she was just like, I am here, my little monsters, and I will come out when it's time to sing.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When you're going to like Grammys or award seasons, like, do you really need to go crazy with your exotic fucking out fashion and shit just to get hits on social media and get more people talking and make more memes? Like, what are we doing? What the fuck happened to this
Remember
world?
when Trey Parker and Matt Stone went to the Oscars? Like,
I mean,
in
unless you're doing it
2000?
for the unless you're doing it for the comedic purposes and be funny, then that's a different story. Then I can get past that.
Remember how everybody was mad at Trey Parker and Matt Stone because I think it was like 99 or 2000 when they went because they did South Park, bigger, longer, because they got nominated for Best Song for Blame Canada.
Yeah.
And they went to the Oscars because they did some bath salt and they went to the Oscars in dresses. Thought that'd be hilarious if they went in dresses. And so they went down there, and every time somebody asked about the dresses, they would just dodge the question and then when everybody was looking at them like they were assholes because they were just like, "Oh, you better not ruin my fucking night, dude." He says, "My big night," and that's what they were. Just
But that's the
dressing.
beauty thing about it. These comedians are doing it for the joke. It was made for the joke, and it worked. And that's how
they wouldn't even get the joke now. Nowadays, people wouldn't even get that was a joke. They were just like, "Oh, they're down with the times." I'm just thinking, no, they were making a joke, but it's like,
it's like, no, they're making a joke.
There'd be a chunk of people who'd be like, so stunning, so brave, and then there'd be another person.
Like, you're so brave. It's so stunning. You're so brave.
South Park throws him to tell. Yeah, you'd have half the people. You'd have half the group on YouTube. Well, actually, YouTube mostly is a more like leans more of the reddish than the YouTube. You see more reddish YouTubers than you see bluish YouTubers, and so I'm sure maybe more videos goes. South Park throws in the towel and bends to the woke mob. DEI South Park, and I'm just thinking,
dude, their fucking show is nothing but they've been political from the start of their fucking show. They've always been a satire for their political.
I can see the thumbnails now, but as far
I
just like, hey, it's like everybody in this room is now dumber.
South Park. Thank God South Park did not happen, and now that happened like in '99 or so, because half those dudes on YouTube were like 5 or 6 or Matt's age.
Yeah, pretty much. This is before when we didn't have social media at the time.
I mean that's crazy. That is so crazy.
But I could have sworn that someone said that there's not going to be any music performances at the Oscar this year. At least that's from what I've heard.
Oh man, I was really hoping Amelia Perez would sing the song "Penis Vagina." I really was hoping they would.
I still have not watched.
I was
that
really
movie.
hoping.
I still have not seen Amelia Perez movie. I've heard shitty things about that film.
He got
13 nominations.
I was gonna ask because I wanted Stephanie to review it. I was gonna ask Stephanie the other day because she hated it too.
That was so fun if we did a fucking live watch along.
I said I was gonna ask.
I mean, it's on Hulu. It's gonna air on Hulu
Netflix,
and Disney
Netflix.
Plus or whatever.
Netflix is on Netflix. It's all in Spanish.
No, and actually, it's gonna be on for Hulu because it's ABC because it's airing on ABC.
No,
Netflix don't have the rights to it.
The movie Amelia Perez.
Oh, you mean? Oh, okay. No, never mind. I got that whole mixed up.
That whole movie's in Spanish. I just want to point out to you guys. That whole movie.
Yeah, because I've not watched that movie. I've heard so many bad things. I mean, the critics didn't get bad reviews.
It is so terrible. It is so.
I was like, is it really that bad?
It's the craziest plot. It is the craziest freaking plot. And then
I mean,
there's
you
a
don't have to tell
song.
me everything that happened in the movie. I'm just like, give me the abridged version.
The
Like,
idea is like a cartel boss gets a sex change.
That's yeah,
okay,
that's pretty much it.
okay.
Um, but
And
what
it's a
did you?
musical.
I saw a clip of that musical. I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
That is literally like someone's like this. Hello, nice to meet you. Talk to about sex
I've heard.
change,
I didn't
about
even
the
heard that the
penis,
musical was
vagina.
bad. I've heard it was really bad.
I'm like saying, I'm just like, it's the funniest song. It is literally the funniest song ever. It's like, why would you put this song in your movie? It's like, what the hell? It's like,
Jesus.
and this got 13 Oscars. 13. Joker, the music in Joker 2 is better. The music in Joker 2 is better.
It's really that bad.
The state of things when half-hearted covers of "To Love Somebody" is like nominated alongside this crap. But I'm bumming myself out just thinking about it. So let's just end things here. What did you think of these episodes? Let us know in the comments. We would love to read what you have to say. Collins, what do you got coming up?
Well, I'm gonna get some shit by the time this airs. I'm gonna probably by the time this airs, there's gonna be a lot of shit on my channel. Probably gonna be a lot of negative. You're probably gonna hear stories. They might even make a YouTube art video about me because I did review Amelia Perez today on my channel, and I said some controversial shit in my review. And yeah, there is gonna. I literally am thinking about editing some of the shit I said out because I mean, some people might think it's transphobic, but I'm not. I was just saying like being fair about it, saying like, I was saying like how stupid that song is and stuff. But and so yeah, I'm probably gonna by the time you're aired, you're probably gonna hear some shit saying, "Oh, I feel bad, man. They dragged you online for hours." But yeah,
Well, everyone's focusing on the H3H3 content nuke on Hassan Piker, so you should be fine.
okay, yeah. By the time hopefully by the time this airs, probably nobody gives a shit. They'll be like, we don't care. It's what's been said is said. I
I
mean, to
think
be
they're. I
fair,
think they're all in sabbatical. A lot of people fucking hated that movie.
I mean, there's like I always say, there's always four house when it comes to a movie. There's always four houses. There is the red house, the blue house, and then there is the LGBTQ house, and then there is the average house, which is the average audience that doesn't care about either side. And it feels like every single side of that house hates this movie. And the roof is literally the old elite Hollywood, the Steven Spielbergs, the Martin Scorsese's, the George Lucases, and James Camerons of the world are the ones that are saying, this is the best movie ever. This is the best movie ever. While like the houses are saying, fuck this piece of shit. Fuck this piece of shit.
Well, watch that on Jacobs Collins's channel, linked in the
I
description.
said that in my review, by the way. That's one of the things I said in my review.
I should definitely take a look at that. But Matt Wyatt, what do you have coming up?
I did recently put out my review of Companion. Check it out on my channel. And we also did a recent episode of Talking Silence. I wasn't presently there. My video was pre-recorded. Check that out. And I think, are we supposed to do the Spider-Man 2 watch party on the Friday?
Tomorrow
Because
night, yeah.
by the time
this
you
airs,
watched it, yeah, by the time this thing airs, it would already be up on Kyle's channel. So I'm
exactly.
looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, well, shout out to Kyle from Flet's Pop Culture 13. He actually joined me to review Happy Death Day, which is now live on the
Oh
channel.
god.
So go check that out if you have not. And also,
That piece of shit.
it's
You know
actually
what? Screw you. I love Happy Death
Hey, that's a
Day.
shitty movie. As I hate Christopher Landon. He's never been one good
I
movie.
think you have so much beef with the person that made that movie.
Look, to be fair, like Happy Death Day. Christopher Landon is not as bad as Diablo Cody, but like I've not seen one movie, even Freaky I thought was terrible. Like every movie he makes is like it's always the same thing. But Happy Death Day is literally Groundhog Day, but with a serial killer.
So is Edge of Tomorrow. That was literally a Groundhog Day.
And Tomorrow's a good movie. Tomorrow
there you go. So, like they rip a lot of Hollywood rip off on other ideas before. Unless you do
yeah.
it well or you do it shitty, then that's a
I
different
will
story.
say at least I will say one thing. At least he's not like Diablo Cody or Simon Kinberg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I will say at least how Paranormal Activity 4 is much better than anything Simon Kinberg or Diablo Cody has ever made. Although I got a new enemy coming to my list of filmmakers I hate. The Crank guys are terrible. I've literally
I
not.
enjoyed the Crank movie, Crank 1 and
Crank
Crank
movies are
2,
awful.
but they did direct Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, which that movie was a pile of shit.
Okay,
That
you
movie
know
was
what? You know
awful.
what? Maybe I might not put him on the list because I do like Mom and Dad's, and that is one of the funniest fucking movies
I have
ever.
not seen that one.
We're
Oh
gonna
well,
have to do a watch along. What
Hey,
what's his name? What's his name?
Kyle.
Kyle, yeah. Kyle, oh my god, that is so it's such a dark comedy. It's so bad, but it's so funny.
Well,
Nicolas Cage is trying to kill his kids in that movie.
I'll leave myself a note for come October for Scary Mania. We'll do a watch party for Mom. But
Oh, there is a line in that movie that is just so freaking great. Nicolas Cage literally says something about anal beads, and he gives a monologue about anal beads in the movie, and it's just like, what the fuck?
I'll find out when we see that movie.
Like, oh my god, man, I kind of want to watch this tonight. As I showed some a friend of mine one time that movie, and I'm like, what the fuck is this movie? Especially when there's a guy beating up a mom, a cop beating up a mom. He's like, I told you not to resist. Ah! Just like, what the fuck? The guy just beats his chest and goes, ah! Just like, yeah, this is definitely the Crank guys. It's like, oh,
for sure. But we'll do that come October, and then the David Lynch project is ongoing, and a lot of other fun stuff coming to the channel throughout the year. So stay tuned on the
yep.
lookout for that. For Jacob Collins, for Matt Wyatt, my name is Ryan Cam. Thank you all so much for watching. For Truth, for Justice, for the American Way, always hold on to Smallville. Collins, do the thing.
Do the thing.
Sharpton for president, y'all. We're out.
Jesse Jackson for VP.